This is Brian, and welcome to Wait, What BS Is This? The first Patreon video. If you like this video and the content, please like and subscribe on YouTube and become a patron on Patreon. All the details will be in the description below the video. This series is an opinion series of videos where I cover mainly news, but I will also cover sports and other special interest objects. The average video is somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes long. I'd like to thank all my patrons at the moment, and let's get into the news. The first topic I'd like to cover is James Comey's book. James Comey has done a series of interviews and wrote his memoir outlining what he did to the Clinton campaign and how he perceived Donald Trump. There are many problems with all of this, but in one of his interviews he says he feels Donald Trump shouldn't be impeached if there was wrongdoing. And I'll start off with, I disagree. The problem with something like saying no to impeachment for a president committing a crime is it just empowers other leaders to do similar things. And if you look at the national stage, Donald Trump is very obviously in the spotlight for potential wrongdoing by him and his campaign during the election and during his presidency. And the issue with this is that if there is clear wrongdoing by Donald Trump, whether you agree with his politics or not, whether you support him or not, you can forgive what he's done as a person to another person. But as a leader, he has undermined his ability to lead by committing these acts. And so by saying we shouldn't impeach him, that is unacceptable. And it's unacceptable because if the CEO of a business commits a crime, or has a crime committed under his watch, he is ultimately responsible for everything that goes on in his company. And it's the same with our president. And because of this, we need to have this dialogue about whether he should be impeached or not. He should be impeached if he committed wrongdoing. And really, while the Congress won't impeach him for crimes committed by his underlings during the campaign and during his presidency, he's ultimately responsible. And we need to make sure he understands his responsibility by not reelecting him if it's found out that he knew about any of this, even if he didn't know about any of this. He is ultimately responsible for what goes on in his campaign. He's ultimately responsible for what goes on in the White House. He's ultimately responsible for what he says in public. And he's proven that he's just a bully and he wants to be a dictator, and it's problematic. So we need to get to the point where we have to have this cutting of ties with him, because he's not that charismatic. He just says a lot of things that people agree with. And most people don't even agree with what he says. So that's, that narrative, and I haven't read James Comey's book, and it really, even if I did, I mean, a lot of the most interesting blurbs that have been put out there, if you're smart, you already figured that out. It's not, having someone else tell you that he acts like a mob boss or he's a liar or any of that. You can figure that out yourself. It's not hard. And regardless of whether you agree with his politics or not, whether you agree with what's gone on in his presidency or not, he has lost the right and the ability to lead us. And because of that, it really has to be, we really have to consider all the possible implications. And so, but, I'll leave that alone for now. Trump's personal lawyer getting a no-knock search last week was interesting, especially given he's been under investigation for the last few months, and that hasn't really been known to the public. Having clients like Sean Hannity isn't really that big of a deal. The fact that he personally has done some things that were predicted or were talked about in the Christopher Steele dossier, even if Christopher Steele made huge mistakes and screwed up a lot of things, that makes a problem. I mean, because if any part of the Steele dossier is true, then we go back to what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. If any part of the Steele dossier is true, then who has dirt on Trump and who has the ability to capitalize on it? And Trump has shown that he's got a bunch of people in his administration that have the same problem, who has dirt on them, who can take advantage of these people without any repercussions to the United States. And we look at Jared Kushner, it's crazy. All of this is crazy. So that's my 2 cents on that. And really, Stormy Daniels the Stormy Daniels and Kara McDougal thing has been a narrative since before the 2016 election. And, we're just getting to the point where we're seeing all of this come to a head. And we might see, I think we'll see an impeachment proceeding after the election next year, if there's enough evidence to show that where there's smoke, there's fire. Anyway, that's my 2 cents for this week. I'll see you guys again on Friday. Have a great day.